Hi everybody, Jeff Heaton here with Midwest Whitetail Obsessions. This is my first video for this channel. I created this channel so I can start videoing my deer hunts, and this is an outlet for me to post to, so I'm going to use YouTube. If you guys have questions or comments or anything like that, go ahead and leave them here, or you can email me at midwestwhitetailobsession@gmail.com. With that being said, I thought I'd kick off this video with sharing a story of kind of what got me interested in videoing hunts, as well as why I say I'm obsessed with whitetails, which, let's face it, deer hunting is an obsession. What got me hooked on hunting? My dad pretty much took me with him from the time I could basically run. It's about 4 years old. I remember going on hunts, waking up early in the morning, going hunting with my dad, sitting in the truck, just waiting to go hunting. That being said, to kind of tell you guys a little bit about myself, from the Midwest, obviously, with Midwest Whitetail Obsession. I'm born and raised in South Dakota. Lived here almost all my life. I did move to Nebraska a few years ago, but I recently moved back. So I'm married, have 2 kids. It's been 6 years since I've been hunting, and the reason being is my daughter was born 6 years ago, and that took a priority for me, and I just kind of decided to put my other passion aside and concentrate on raising my kids. But they're old enough now that I said, okay, I can go back to hunting now. So the 2018 season, look out, because I'm going to be posting videos of my hunts. Hopefully I have a couple good videos for you. Other than that, I thought I'd kick this off with telling you a story about how I pretty much became obsessed with whitetails. It's the story of my very first hunt ever. In South Dakota, they have a youth hunt season. It's prior to the bow season every year, and you can't do it until you're 12 years old. You have to take hunter safety until you can get qualified in South Dakota. So at 12, I took hunter safety, got my hunter safety certificate, which hunting safe is a priority for everybody. I condone hunter safety for anybody gonna hunt. It's a great thing. But back to the story. I was 12 years old. My dad and my uncle took me out, and the way we were set up, we were hunting on a little like berm, I guess you would say, and directly in front of us we had a bean field, and directly adjacent to the bean field was a cornfield. No fence in between, just cornfield, bean field. Behind the berm was a wooded area. The deer used as a travel corridor and bedding area, and behind the tree line was a river. So they had water, they had food, they had cover. Great location for hunting. So we're setting up on this field. It's getting close to dusk, and deer are starting to pour into the field. Now, between the tree line, over the berm, and into the field, there's about a 30-yard gap. The berm is about 30 yards wide that we're sitting on, and the deer are going directly from the tree line, and we're about 150 to 200 yards, I'd say, from the cornfield. But they're going directly into the corn. Like, I have a 30-yard window to shoot through before they get to the corn. I'm sitting there, I'm hunting with a Marlin 30-30 lever action with iron sights, no scopes. All we had with us was a couple small binoculars, just to make sure that I was going to shoot an antlerless deer, which is South Dakota's rule for youth season. any antlerless deer, which is fine. Okay, so we're sitting there. We've seen about 15 deer pile in. It's getting close to dusk. Decided, it's a little far of a shot. I don't want to shoot that far and then have to track through a cornfield. So I decide with my dad, he and I are going to leave my uncle where he sits about 200 yards from the cornfield, and we're going to move another 100 yards closer to the cornfield to give it a little easier shot for me. My dad and I move, and about 10 minutes after we move, we see movement coming through the trees, and it has horns, and they are just huge. And the body on this deer, it was a 300-pound live weight deer, easily. With, if I had to guess the size of his antlers, they were 180-inch plus. This is the biggest deer I've ever seen in my life, and since that day I've been hooked on hunting, but couldn't shoot him. Had to let him had to pass him. So with it being youth season, couldn't shoot a buck. So that's the story of how hunting is. But anyways, about 10 minutes after we watch him walk off into the cornfield, we decide, okay, we're gonna turn and watch the bean field and the cornfield, and we see deer come out of the cornfield into the beans, and we're looking through binoculars, we're checking them. We see about 6 deer out in the bean field along the edge of the corn, and finally I decide, okay, I'm gonna shoot one of these. I'm gonna shoot one of these deer out in the beans, and they're about 125, 150 yards away from us, and we're sitting there, and we're waiting for one to turn broadside. Finally, I picked the biggest one that I see out there. Dad's looking it over, says I don't see any antlers. Checks back with my uncle, and I told my dad I'm gonna shoot, and he goes, I don't see any antlers, and I shoot. Deer goes down. 150 yards, open sights, with a 30-30 lever action rifle for the first deer kill ever. Bad part of the story is my dad turned to look at my uncle, and unfortunately my dad and my uncle have a signal system for youth hunting, and this is the signal for buck, this is the signal for doe. My uncle is sitting there doing this with the deer that just dropped. Didn't know it, couldn't see it from where we are, and he saw it. Unfortunately, it was a little too late because the deer's already down. We walk up, and it turned out to be a little, about 1.5 years old 4x4, still in velvet. Now, mind you, this is mid-September when this is happening, so he technically shouldn't have been in velvet, but he was. But so's the story. You didn't see it, you didn't see it. So didn't have a scope on the rifle, so I couldn't really check that well, but we tried checking with binoculars. Unfortunately, I'd already pulled the trigger by the time my uncle noticed. But that being said, it was a great hunt. Got my first deer on the ground, and we'd only been sitting for about an hour and a half. So it's a great story. It's a great story because not only was it a successful hunt because we saw a deer, it was a successful hunt because everybody was safe, and I wound up getting my first deer kill ever. Bonus, it was a buck, but I didn't really want to shoot a buck. I wanted to shoot a doe. And the added bonus of having seen a absolute giant of a deer just solidified the fact that I had found a passion and was going to pursue it. And that's pretty much how Midwest whitetail obsession began. and I've been obsessed with whitetail hunting ever since. But as you see behind me, that is my biggest deer to date. That is a 4x4 I shot in 2006 with a bow. It is my largest kill with a bow, and largest kill period of any deer thus far, but I'm hoping eventually I can top that. I will go around the room and show you some of the other deer in this room, but they don't belong to me, and I'm not going to show you. Not yet anyway. I might eventually, but right now, that's what you get. So, like I said, this is just a first video for this channel to just kind of tell you a little bit about myself, a little bit of why I want to video my hunts. I've been watching hunting shows since I can remember, and the one thing I like about them is that you can see on there that they can actually go through and review their shot before they go track a deer to find out if they got a good shot or not. And I've always thought that was a smart thing to do, because there's sometimes where you think you made a good shot and then you're tracking for 300 yards and still haven't found a deer, and then you're like, maybe it wasn't that great of a shot, maybe I should stop and quit pushing this deer. Whereas if you have the video and you see it's a bad shot, then you can say, well, I'm going to go get my arrow, or I'm going to go mark first blood, and I'm going to go back out completely away from where the deer was headed and get out of here, and I'll come back and track it in the morning based on the video footage. See, that's the main reason I want to video my hunts. The other reason is because I think it's really cool and really unique. So that being said, like I said, comment, like. I may try to get some interviews with people like other hunters or family members that hunt, or even I might try to get a hold of a game warden or something and talk about some of the issues we're having as hunters and conservationists. So stay tuned for more videos on this channel. Please like it, comment, and also shoot me an email, MidwestWhitetailObsession@gmail.com. Again, thanks. God bless. Have a great season. Have a great holiday. It's close to Christmas, so everybody celebrate with your families. Be safe out there, and I hope to hear from some of you. All right, bye.